For this one, it's going to be a lacrosse ball mobility. So we're going to do this one standing, but so you can get a visual on the locations. This is the heel area, so we're going to mostly go side to side. We're then going to do the outside of the foot, so not the arch just yet, but we're going to go up and back here. We're going to go at the base below the ball of the foot, so we're going to go side to side here. We'll do some toe splaying over top. So we're over top, we're just on the toes. And then finally we'll go down through the arch of the foot. So it'll look like this as we go. So I'm gonna spend about 30 seconds on the full foot. So I'll do some side to side. I'll do some on the outside. I'll pivot on my heel and go just before the ball of the foot. I'll splay the toe and stretch. I can also balance on the ball of my foot or on the outside of my foot to stretch out the toes. And then I'm going to do what typically feels the best, which is the arch of the foot on there. And that's our mobility for the lacrosse ball on the foot, and we'll do both feet. This is the lacrosse ball mobility for the hip. So I'm gonna find my hip bone, so this really bony part in the front of my hip, and I'm just gonna go just below that on my hip flexor. And this is gonna be a combination with our TFL as well. So the TFL, if I find that bony part again, I go to the top of my hip, and then I go into the kind of the same location where my hip flexor was. That is going to be where my TFL is. So I'm going to get that soft part as well, and there's going to be a big ropey type band right there. So I'm going to spend about 30 seconds on each area and then on both sides. So I'm just going to find that bone. I'm going to go down. I'm going to place the ball there, and I can kind of relax, and I'm going to go left or right, and I can also kind of push into it and go forward, up and down. But if you're going side to side, make sure you're not pushing too hard, because you're gonna really jump over the hip flexor so much, and it might feel like it's flicking back and forth. And that's when you're going to maybe irritate it. So if you're going back and forth, left to right, make sure you're not flicking over top the band too much, and you're gently doing some mobility on either the left side or the right side when you go. And then the TFL, that is right on the side of my hip. So if I come right off of where I was on the hip flexor, I'm just gonna continue over, and then I'm gonna kind of post up on this side position, and I can do circles, I can go up and down, but I want to relax my leg as much as possible. So I'm going to use my hands as a means to assist me and relax my legs, because that TFL will turn on, and it will be a really thick, hard rope, and you won't be able to get too much into it if it's contracted. So we want to relax the bottom leg and just kind of work through there. It's going to be tender. You can roll back and forth, find what feels best. Even just sitting on it and relaxing and what we call melting, we're just kind of using pressure over top the ball with our body weight. And then we're done, and we would switch sides. For the lacrosse ball glute, we are going to find this position right off the side of our butt here. So if this is our hip flexor, this is our TFL, and then this is the area, the softer, more tender spot right on the side of your butt. So if I'm coming off the side, I'm going to be just going down and then back a little bit further. So I'm going to put the ball right there, and then I'm going to roll over top. I can use my top leg to regulate the pressure of how much of my body weight is going to go over that ball, but I'm going to find that tender spot on the side and I'm gonna go from there. If that's not enough, you can locate the ball in the right spot again. You can cross, and then you can use your bottom leg and your hands to regulate that pressure. And this one's gonna be a lot more intense, and just be careful with this one. You don't wanna destroy that too much. I'm just trying to get into that tissue and open some of it up. So you can kind of play around just how much pressure you can handle. Good, and about 30 seconds each side, and we'll do both sides. This is our cars for our knee. We're gonna give a nice hold down by our hamstring. We're gonna hug ourselves a little bit. We're gonna anchor down with the opposite hand. And I'm gonna try to get my shin to move here. I'm gonna help facilitate that movement by moving my foot. But we should really think about this whole piece moving in unison. So if you see here, you can see my shin rotating and my knee staying relatively straight. So just keep an eye on that when you go through this drill. So I'm gonna go out to the side. I'll go all the way up, stretching my hamstring a little bit. I'm gonna look for that twist back in on the shin and then come back down. I can hold that and I'm gonna reverse. I'm gonna go to the other side at the top and come back down. Rotate at the shin and then come back down. So we really wanna isolate the femur or the quad, making sure that that's not going all over the place when you do this. That's why we try to hug in nice and close. We try to get all the movement to come at the shin. So out, up, in, down, and then we just reverse that. For our shoulder cars, we're gonna keep our hands at our sides, fingers mostly pointed downwards through the whole process. We're going to just rotate through the full range of what our shoulders have available to us. So I'm gonna go down and back, pulling the shoulder blades down and back. I'm gonna circle through. I'm gonna come up nice and tall, start to shrug, and I'm just trying to think about getting the biggest circle I can through the process. Everything's coming through the shoulder blades as we go along, and then we can reverse the other way, and it should look like this. So I'm just inversing everything, getting up as high as possible, working from the shoulder blade. Just a side angle so you can see what it looks like here. Just trying to get as big as I can. Just trying to work through our shoulders. Think about getting the biggest circle, always maxing out the ring, so to speak, of where you can go with the shoulder as you go along in both directions. This is our pails, rails, butterfly, tall kneeling groin. We're gonna start in this wide position, feet fanned out to the side. I'm just gonna start with a 90-second hold here where I'm getting my groin to open up and relax. Once I've been here for 90 seconds, I'm going to start squeezing, and I'm going to try to squeeze inward as hard as I can for 15 seconds. And then I'm going to relax, and I'm going to try to open up here now for 15 seconds. We're going to feel probably on the outside of the hips. So I go 15 seconds there. And then after that, I'm just going to fully relax, let gravity do its work for 30 seconds in this position. Nice calm breathing in through our nose, out through our nose. Try to avoid sitting back. Try to be nice and tall when we're in this position, and hold a nice tall torso as you go throughout the holds. This is our prone figure 4. We're going to start with the foot above the knee. So we get up nice and high, and then we're going to fall over on top of it. And we're gonna just try to get the hip as close as we can as the ground. We're just gonna relax here, and we might not even feel anything when we do this. We're just trying to get the leg to rotate in a way that tries to open up this hip. You might sit here and not feel very much, but the key piece is that we're trying to get the hips towards the floor, so you can push your hips towards the floor a little bit. You might feel it a little bit in the side here of your butt. We're just gonna hang out here, and you're just gonna breathe in through your nose, out through your nose, and you're gonna go roughly 30 seconds on this, and then slowly just relax. You'll come out of the position, and then you'll do the other side. This is the elevated pigeon off box, or you can do this off a bench as well. But we're just gonna put the foot up here, straight as we can in front of us, and then we're just gonna hold onto the foot so it doesn't slip out from underneath us. And I'm just gonna squat down with my back leg so that I feel like I get a stretch through the left side of my hip or my butt on this side. And I can kind of rotate or play around in this position, going in deeper, coming out on top. And we're just gonna hold this position for roughly 30 seconds, and you can play around with some of the tightness on that outside hip. When you're done, just slowly come out, bring the leg down, and then switch sides. For our side-lying cars, we wanna start with the position of going backwards in our circle rather than forwards, because it's gonna help us get a feel for what range of motion we're looking for to start. So when I start here, bottom leg can be just slightly bent to give you some more stability. Cradle your head with your hand. And then from here, I'm going to think about drawing a circle with my knee as I go along here. So I'm gonna go backwards. I'm making a big circle as I go along, coming forward, and then going down to the start. So thinking that the knee is kind of your driver of your position as you go along will be what makes the most sense. As I come back to the start and I'm flush and flat to the ground, I'm gonna reverse for 2 reps here as well. So I'm gonna open up, try not to fall back, internally rotate now as I come down, and then I drive it again, in, and then out and open. Good, and then repeat on the other side.